Welcome back to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton. Today I have an Oklahoma cowboy by the name of Chris May as my guest. Now, Chris and I don't know if we've ever met in person, but we were at the same event, and I think maybe we would know each other after we've seen each other. But I seen him commenting and liking some stuff on Facebook. I gave him a call, and now he feels like family. And he's going to come and judge one of our Country Tough Trail Versatility competitions. So I just wanted everybody to get to know this cowboy. And whenever I looked him up on Facebook, he's got one heck of a following. Like, he's a big deal. Like, I'm the beta and he's the alpha. So let's get to know Mr. Chris May. So Chris, you're married to your first wife, and how long have y'all been together?
We've been together right at 22 years now.
22
we married
years.
shortly after we got out of high school.
Okay. Now, her name is Shantae, and it's Shonta, Shantae. And then y'all have
Correct.
2 kiddos. Yeah. You have a Sarah and a Jason. Now then, Sarah's in college, correct?
That's right. Yeah, she's in her first year of college, actually, or second year. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And she's majoring in business management.
Okay. Business management. Do you know, is she do you think she's wanting to work for y'all or wanting to do her own thing or don't know yet or what?
Well, she is desperately wanting to go to culinary school after she gets her business degree. She's one fabulous cook, and she likes all the fancy meals.
Okay.
So that's her goal right now, is to finish business school and go right back in for culinary school.
Well, I like to eat fancy meals. This is
Me too.
I'm happy that there's people that are passionate about making fancy foods. Okay. So.
Yes, I will support her forever as long as she's doing that. Absolutely.
So, Chris May, here we go. We got to know some stuff before we get into all the horses. Like, do you eat sushi?
Sure.
Do you eat sushi?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Sure do.
I love sushi. Like, it is, it's expensive because I eat too much of it. It's so freaking delicious. What's your favorite thing?
Probably just the regular old smoked salmon. Well, like the little bit of a smoked salmon and the tuna, just the red tuna or the white tuna, just sashimi, I think is what they call it. That's probably my favorite.
Oh,
and then, of course, every restaurant's got the unique rolls that I have to try out if I've never heard of it before. But,
oh, yeah. Everybody always thinks that sushi means raw fish, but sushi just means connected to rice. But I do like sashimi, which is the raw fish. I love it all. So
I do too. I never thought I would, but I actually got to try some one time right after a yellowfin tuna was caught. And I've been hooked on it ever since then.
My parents, okay, so that's Japanese food. My parents didn't try Chinese food until I was like 16 years old, and I wanted some chicken fried rice so bad because my friend had some at her house, and then it was on like Donkey Kong, and now they're just like, we missed out on Chinese food so much of our life, So, but
absolutely.
Well, and then we have to know, do you eat pineapple on pizza?
Yes, okay. I sure do.
Okay. Yeah. I do like some
pineapple
sweet.
Just about anyway.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 foods that I'm allergic to, and unfortunately, it's pineapple and banana, and I didn't find that out until this year. This year. I've been eating the heck out. I used to, I would eat those if I was dieting or not, or I loved them on everything, and it turns out I'm like deathly allergic to pineapple and banana.
Oh goodness!
I know. So I do love pineapple on a pizza, but not anymore. I'm trying to be good and take those 2 out. So
absolutely. Wow.
Well, and I asked you earlier if you went to college. You said no, but you got right into the oil and gas industry, and you've been to every continent except for Antarctica. So tell us about this oil and gas industry.
Well, I actually started out there when I was 18, working in the Gulf of Mexico. And my goal from the time I, set foot on the rig to start with was to go international. And I guess around in 2005 or so, I went to Vietnam. and then worked a little while over there. Spent most of the time in Southeast Asia area, a good bit of time in Australia, and a little bit in Europe, and then passing through Africa. A lot of places I've daisy chained over, and actually circumnavigated the globe a couple of times. That was pretty interesting. So it is round, I think.
Okay. Thank you for, I like to have firsthand experience on things, and know somebody. So now we do know the earth is round.
That's right. I saw it, and it was very tiring doing it the first time. But the oil and gas industry kind of opened the door for me to see a lot of different cultures. I actually got to work with some horses in Malaysia, Indonesia, and a little bit in Australia too. So it was unique to see what my passion is here and how a lot of the similarities are.
Oh.
Just all over the world, really. So.
Well, and the oil and gas industry opened up doors for you. The great world of competitive taekwondo opened doors for me. I got to compete I competed in 5 countries as a heavyweight fighter. And that's before now. Everybody, now I actually just got booked by the county collector for a different county than what we live in. Like I was the keynote speaker for this Missouri Women in Agriculture, and I got to meet a whole bunch of women from all over Missouri. But I'm actually going to be teaching self-defense to them. And so a lot of people come in. Well, people come into their office, and they're just the people that they're meeting right there are the ones that are just taking the money. They're doing like secretarial work, and people are fighting mad, and they just want to make sure that their ladies have some self-defense. So I just got hired to teach that, and I'm like, well, I'll most definitely do you a good job, But,
well, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So isn't it weird how people get to see the world? Now, I've always wanted to go to Australia, and we had a clinician out here before by the name of Dan James, and Dan James is from Australia, and he's, I asked him if he could use a bullwhip. A lot of those guys can do some really cool things with a bullwhip.
Yeah.
He can actually take a long neck bottle of beer, put it in his mouth, turn his head up, and chug that beer while he's snapping bullwhips in both hands. So that was a yes. He could most definitely do a bullwhip. He made fun of my bullwhip. My bullwhip was like less than $20, and he turns out that like the best bullwhips in the world are made from kangaroo. But
from rawhide.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. He's had a lot of practice in both. I think it's.
Man, he's such a nice guy. And last time I seen him, he was getting ready for some race. I think that's in China, where they race these horses across a huge. I don't even know. I think it takes several days to do this big race, and they have like weight requirements of you plus the saddle. And Dan James is not a large man, and he was cutting down some weight to make sure that he had that he was underneath that cutoff. So what an adventure!
Yeah, I bet a lot of real good people in Australia. They're real similar to us in their culture. It's a good place.
So tell me a couple of countries that you've been to that you dealt with horses.
So in Malaysia, one of the guys we had working on the rig, he just had a passion for horses. And he worked at a racetrack. And every now and then we would have a little layover here or there. We'd spend some time on shore. So we got to go there. I got to go there and visit with him, kind of see how they train the race horses and give my 2 cents here or there when I was asked. And that was probably the most interesting, time because you're speaking broken English. My Bahasa wasn't the greatest in the world, so you're trying to relay that. But when the horses are common ground, it was pretty neat. And I need to link back up with him. I hadn't talked to that guy in years just to see how he's doing and how the training methods work for them. So,
well, and you know what? It just you never know what you're going to pick up. I know that whenever I talk to Dan, I'm not talking about Dan James on this podcast for any reason. I don't know why, because it just worked out that way. But
right.
I do respect him. Oh, my gosh, he's such a delight and a great guy. But he went to Japan and trained for a while with a whole bunch of different horsemen there. You know, like
oh wow, that's interesting.
well,
Yeah.
you don't hear that from a bunch of cowboys, you know, be like, yeah, I went to Japan, you know, like you don't hear that. It's, you know, but, okay, well, so oil rigging, were you more into like finding oil or like what did you do for the oil and gas industry?
Yes, ma'am. The rig we were on, or most of the rigs I were on, that's what they did was the actual exploration. You know, a lot of times they would kind of have an idea where the oil was anyway. And then I was on the maritime side of it, so I was actually the one that would bring the rig in, set it over the location. They would drill the hole, and then we would move the rig from spot to spot or country to country. So that was my primary role in it.
Okay, so I've got an oil rig. I got an oil rig story for you. Okay, you gotta hear this right here because I had to. I finished up my biology degree with doing some research over shrimp, and I was in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so I was on a shrimping boat for like a scientific research shrimping boat for part of the summer. Well, you get out there. It's not like you can take a bubble bath. Okay, there's like a very small shower, and you don't shower a lot, and you gotta be fast and efficient. You're not 100% on nothing. Hygiene's not 100% while you're out there. Okay. Anyways, I had so many pimples on my face, and my hair was just slick back nasty. And we get out to an oil rig, like close to one. Well, these guys had been out there for a minute, and they were catcalling and like woo woo, and I was like. I was looking around like, who else is on this boat with me? Like, I'm looking left, I'm looking right. And I just like, I point towards myself and I'm like, me? Me? Are you catcalling? I'm like, oh, these boys done messed up their sense of reality. I was like, because all of them were catcalling. I'm like, I don't even look like a female anymore. I look like a swamp rat. Okay. Like I was so gross. Anyways, it just helped me with like, well, those guys' perception is just a little altered right now, but I'm going to forgive them. And I was just like, oh yeah, it did make me feel pretty for the rest of the day whenever I was all greasy and nasty and stinky, you know, because it took us a while to get back, but that will stick in my head to the day I'm dead of me being like, who are y'all whistling at?
It would be no surprise if there are several stories like that for folks coming that drilling rig. So.
Well, so let's talk about, have you always been an Oklahoma boy?
No, we've actually started living here the last part of July.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in McGee, Mississippi, a town just south of Jackson. And we always tell folks, if you go to the coast, you probably went right through McGee. I think they have 3 red lights now, if I remember right.
Okay.
Maybe 4, I'm not sure. So, but that's where I was, born and raised at, kind of where I fell in love with horses as well. And then probably about 10 or 11 years ago, we moved to Arkansas. And, we had some property there, and we kind of expanded. That's really where Swinging M Ranch started out and started blossoming and blooming. And I left the oil field in 2015 and got a little job with a logistics company. And I worked with them probably about 6 or 7 years. And last April, we decided to come home and do horses 100%, go full on training, breeding, raising the whole 9 yards. So.
Now your ranch is called Swingin' M Ranch, M for May?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
M for May, Swingin' M Ranch. And the way we got the name Swingin' M, my father passed away, a good while ago, and he always wanted to be the Rockin' M. Always wanted to have a Rockin' M, brand. And so when he was gone, and then I started research, we're time to start developing our page and start really pushing out some horses and stuff. I didn't really want to do Rockin' M because, he's no longer with us. And when you Google Rockin' M, you got like 9 million search engines popping up with Rockin' M, Rockin' M, Rockin' M.
Mm-hmm.
So after doing a little bit of brand research, we just took the rockin' part and moved it to the top. And when you read a brand, that means swinging. So that's where Swingin' M Ranch was born. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's a really nice clothing store that had just shut down, but they're rocking M, so yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I haven't ever heard of a swinging M. And with and with their last name into it, like we have Von Holton Ranch, and we just we thought about making it something about the creek or something about the eagles that are around here or something about the trees that are around here, or we're considered the gateway to the Ozarks. We're a century farm. We've had this farm since 1906. My husband's family has, but we purchased it in 2013. But then we turned it into a horse trail riding facility, and then host all of these events and host mounted archery. And we have our biggest thing that we have is our Chicks in the Sticks, which is an all-inclusive women's-only event where we just trail ride and we bring a massage therapist in and we go shopping and all the food's included. We have custom cheesecakes and just all sorts of. We also have a painting class, but next year I'm bringing in a horse psychic. One time I want to try it, and then we have a lady that does horsehair jewelry. They get to do one of those activities. But anyways, we chose to go with our name of Von Holton Ranch. And Von Holton's pretty common around this area because it was, Germans settled this area in the late 1800s. And but boy, nobody cannot get our name right. Oh my gosh. Von is VON, and then Holton is HOLTEN. Boy, everybody in the world wants to call it Van, and they want to call it Holton, TON, like the weight, but it's Von, VON, and then we have the number 10 in our last name, so we tell everybody we're a perfect 10, but it's Von Holton.
I got you. Yeah. I understand. It seems like with May, they want to throw the S on the end of it every time.
Oh, they want to make it Mays.
They do. We want to say it's just like the month. We're just like the month.
Boy, you know what? I wouldn't have ever thought about putting an S on there, but I could see that but see, I was spoiled. I was spoiled growing up because I was Smith. Nobody messed that up. Okay. Yeah, nobody messed that up at all. Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, Smith, White, and Bakers, those were the common names. And around here, it's Von Holton and Ulrich, and I'm like, well, these are some not common names, But so tell me.
Well, I was going to say with the last name part of it, we kind of like that too because I wanted to steer away from Chris May horsemanship or Chris May quarter horses or something like that because really the way our horses are now, you're looking at one or two breeders down the road. And is what we're stepping into. We kind of partnered with Bob and Pat Ward of Chisholm's Quarter Horses, and having the name Swinging M Ranch is something that can still go on long after Chris May has left the road. So that was kind of our thought process. Is if I call something Chris May this or Chris May that, it kind of ends when I do. So we wanted to keep that name, up and going for kids, grandkids, great grandkids, whoever.
Right.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, tell me about your horse experience. What have you competed in? What's your favorite? But first of all, before you tell me that stuff, are you a mare man, a gelding man, or a stud man?
I'm 100,000% a mare man.
Okay.
My personal horses tend to lean toward mares. The horses I connect with better are mares, but from a training aspect, I love training geldings.
Okay. All right. See, and you know what? I'm a mare girl. With us owning this trail riding facility, when we first started, we actually rented out horses, and now I'm over that. I don't want to rent out horses anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I swore up and down we wouldn't have no mares, and now we only got 2 boys in the pasture. Okay, we don't have any boys in the pasture. It's all girls. I don't know. I like the heart of them. I like them kind of being spunky, and yeah, I'm okay. But yes, the Gildens are great for, they're just like big golden retrievers. But a mare's where my heart's at.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that 100% for sure.
So tell us about tell us what you've competed in and what all you've done.
Well, I'm going to give you a rundown of really my whole life with horses pretty quick, I think. And when I was in high school is when I really started getting into horses, and that was probably 98, 99, something like that. And I kind of fell in love with just the colt starting side of it, with training the horses. And I worked at a little place. I think it's shut down now, but got to train a lot of horses there. Even after I left there with working offshore, you would have time on and then another amount of time off. So it kind of gave me the opportunity to start, probably a few hundred horses. And then I probably around 10 years ago or so, I really started honing that in, really paying attention to some of the stuff, other clinicians was putting out, like Tom Dorrance and Ray Hunt, really digging deep down into that riding off a field. And then everything just kind of changed for us, when that happened. I had a few horses in the barn. We were gearing up and kind of building toward one direction. I won't name the type of breed, but we had all mares. We were breeding outside studs, and my wife actually got a little horse. She loves black horses, so we got a black mare, and it was a foundation bred mare. And I was training that horse alongside some of the other ones, and when some of the other ones acted completely different, it just kind of changed our focus altogether. Like, whatever this little mare has, that's what we want to be at. It's just a real people-friendly attitude. So we sold off the other breed and just focused 100% on this foundation line, with Chisholm's quarter horses. And it's kind of opened my horsemanship up, to before it was just the old cowboy way. You ride them, you get them going. There's a drill for this. There's an exercise for that. And you basically beat it into them. But having the horse that wants to come to you, that wants to be the people-friendly horse, even if it's not this, which I'm always going to promote our breed because we love them to death. But even if it's not, that particular breeding, the first step always with us now is get that horse to get on the same page. Get that horse to come to you, to have that willing attitude, come to class, more or less. And then from there, everything it sells once you cross that hurdle.
Well, I'll tell you this right here. We have, with us, we started Country Tough Trail Versatility, and 2024 is going to be our 7th year with this going on. And, man, it is just, I will see people with the wrong horse, and I'm like, my God, whenever they get a different horse one day and they get one that's not so difficult, they are going to be ready for anything that comes their way, because they've been a salmon swimming upstream, and as soon as they get an animal that is in tune with them and is pleasant, it's hard to go back to battling something that's difficult.
It'll definitely spoil you for sure, and that's kind of my path has been that. I showed a little bit in cutting, done some team pinning stuff, more ranch type things, like actual working ranch more than anything. And some of the problem horses, looking back on it now, is that's just horses. That's just the way they are, was my mindset. And then you get one that kind of changes that, and then the whole world's a little bit different then, and the only thing I've really probably focused in on showing would have been the obstacle stuff that I think I met you at. And that was the only year that I really went out and, start to finish all the way to a national level deal. And I got third in that in one of the classes, and it was on one of the foundation. Actually, a horse that I connected with, almost a kinship like I've never seen with a horse before.
Right.
But that's my biggest, like, I've never done crack, but it's almost like crack. You feel that, and you get that connection with the horse, and every one of them you get with after that, you're looking for that, or I will be for the rest of my life. Sure.
Well, and you know what? Every horse that I get, I'm getting better and better and better with. And you know what? I have a little bit of guilt, but then not really, because my childhood horse, her last foal is a horse that he'll be with me until the day he's dead. So he turns 19 in 2024. Okay, he'll turn 19. But I had that horse whenever I didn't know nothing. Okay. And so whenever he was 7 years old, then I got introduced to taking my first lesson, and then I went straight into obstacles, but I got into fast obstacles. And so I went from I didn't know how to do nothing. I didn't know how to side pass. I couldn't back very well. It turns out that my horse didn't load in nobody's trailer except for mine. I didn't learn that until I had to do that as an obstacle. And then, I thought leads was just stuff that English people did. I thought it was, I didn't know nothing. You know that? And I didn't know that I didn't know nothing because I was the best horseman in my family. And I should have started my horse in something slower. I should have started them in not crazy stuff, because I've done crazy obstacles before, and I want a horse to still be a horse. I don't want a horse to be a zombie. You know what I mean? I want him to still be with me, and I just want a wonderful, trusting relationship. I don't want to get my animals where they're not scared of anything, and they're just like, whatever you want, I'll do. I don't want that. And I don't want them to, I do like having speed. You know, I have another sport. I compete in mounted archery, and I do want speed. Well, not too much speed, because I got to be able to shoot at their speed. So, but I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. And it feels like, whenever we're in school, we start at lower grades and then we graduate. Okay. And, boy, I took my horse that I didn't make him go to school, and then I made him go to graduate school first. And, I should have had an intermediate step in there. And now that I'm in we're about to be open for our 10th year with our trail riding facility. And, man, you know what? That competitive bug it's still in me a little bit, but I want to be smarter about what I do. And this is what made me form. Country Tough Trail Versatility is not just, smarter's not right. I mean, like, oh my gosh, there's people that run circles around me, but I sure do like the direction that I have provided for other people, because there's a lot of people that they're never going to be able to do some of the other things like cutting. They won't ever be able to do cutting. They won't be able to do reining. But they want to ride a horse. They love horses, and they need to be safe. And that's where I come in. That's where Country Tough Trail Versatility comes in. It's a good relationship. It's a good foundation. And then they can stay with us, or those little butterflies can fly and go on to something else, but they've got that good, solid foundation that I missed out on with my horse. I went from a spotty foundation to I needed a whole building built, and I missed some things.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's unfortunately that's a problem not only in competitive industry, but really from a lot of people's horse journey from beginning to end. It's awesome you're doing that and providing that bridge, you're filling in the gap, and it's the same way with the clinics. It's the same way with riding lessons. We see a lot of people that they get into it and they learn to ride from cousins, uncles, brothers, nephew one or two times, and then the next thing you know, they're competing at a high level deal, or they're going to high level barrel runs or play days or pennings or cuttings, and after one or two of those, they're like, all right, I'm burnt out on this. I'm not at that level, and they just kind of give up. Right. And it seems like there's not nothing. If that's correct grammar, there's not anything to kind of bridge that gap. So it's cool seeing an organization that kind of cater to that. That's awesome.
Well, and you know what? I get a lot of people, because it's Country Tough Trail Versatility. It's three things. You compete in actual trail riding, where we bring the judge out onto the trail and we'll have you do maneuvers like going through a ditch or circling a tree or stepping up on a tree stump that's real flat to the ground. And then we have you do natural obstacles, things that you would, you could possibly see at a trail facility or something. And then we do a ranch horsemanship pattern, but I give you a little bit of guidance. There's some cones that are numbered, and you're doing transitions. So you're working on horsemanship. But I pull a lot of people out of that they've only done trail riding before. I pull a lot of people from there, and I have people that take clinics with me that didn't know that you could use your legs to turn. Or they didn't know that you could choose, like if you wanted to turn left, they would do left rein and left leg. And I was like, no, you don't have to do that leg. You can do left rein and right leg. And it's a little bit, I was like, but you need to make sure and turn your head and look first. And then they were like, oh, okay. Like I've introduced legs to people. I've introduced don't look down because it puts your weight really forward and it makes your horse speed up. And you shouldn't look down, or don't look at the horse's head when you stop. You need to raise your chin because it changes the way your weight is distributed in your saddle. And so people are like, whoa, okay. Like I love being that person. And a lot of places are not designed for that person. I'm designed for that person because I want them to be safe. I want their children to be safe, their grandchildren to be safe. And I want them to take the knowledge they learned from us and it be like a ripple effect and help all sorts of horses is what I'm wanting it to do.
Absolutely. I'm tickled to death you are. There's not a lot of that out there. And it's good to see somebody headed that direction, because it's just like with training horses or really anything in life. When you don't have a good foundation or you miss a lot of steps along the way, it tends not to work out that good. And I'm hoarse now because I just got finished doing a clinic this weekend, and that's one of the things. If we start out and we want our horses to do rollbacks, well, there's a lot of things before you even get to that point. There's the lag yield, there's moving the front end, there's transitioning at trots, and going to a stop, and all these pieces have to be put together, and really the whole journey of you and your equine partner, just to get that solid foundation to go on and do those advanced maneuvers.
Well, and you know what? Today I was, before we did this interview, I was doing a lesson with a girl, and we're trying to get her horse to step up on some bridges. Well, the horse is doing anything but stepping up on there. And I can tell she's getting frustrated. And I was just like, this is just foot placement. And for that horse to give up that their security to be able to run away and be in charge of where their feet are, I was like, it's a big deal. Right. It's a big deal because it's them letting someone else be in charge of their flight mechanism, basically, so they can get away. I was like, it's a huge amount of trust. I was like, and as soon as we get a foot on there, we've got to appreciate that. And man, it took us forever, but then by the end of it, we were able to get a hoof on, and she was actually able to step all the way across that bridge with five steps. And I was like, that's perfect, Wow. And then we went out on the trail and tried it, and we had a big old tree stump, and boy, that horse was fighting the law. But the law won, but it was just consistency. And I was happy I was there because the horse was blowing out to the right. Well, then she was taking the left rein and curving it, trying to, and I was like, no, straighten that right rein, put the right leg in. I said, if the horse is blowing out to the right, then you need to have the reinforcement on the right. And she was like, oh, I've been doing it the other way. And I was like, no, whenever you pick up that left rein, you crunch that left side, and they have to step out to the right even more. And she was like, oh, that makes perfect sense, but you don't know that stuff until it's just told to you. But
that's exactly right, yeah.
But
when you know better, you do better.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I have this, if people have been listening to my podcast and they've, been with me throughout the journey, they've already heard this, but if you're new to it, you'll get to hear this now. Okay. So here's this joke. There's an older man and an older woman, and the older woman rolls up a newspaper and hits the old man and said, that's for not being a good lover. Okay. Well, then the old man sits there for a little bit. Then he rolls up a newspaper and hits her with it, and he says, well, that's for knowing the difference. Okay, so that reminds me of people, like as soon as they know something, it's hard to go back. You know what I mean? Like that's horses, right. Yeah. Like a lot of times, if you got a horse and you have a trainer ride that horse, now I'm not talking about the initial breaking of it or to teach a high end maneuver, but that horse might do that for that trainer on doing some of that stuff. And
Right.
then whenever you get on that horse, it don't do nothing for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see that all the time.
So, Country Tough Trail Versatility helps people be in the driver's seat so they can grow together with that horse, and then we can educate horses and educate people all at the same time. So,
Absolutely, and kind of piggybacking off of that with what we do, it's funny you mentioned that, but a lot of our clients, when we do have a horse that comes in for training, that's something I actually encourage. One, it's an open door. Come watch anytime. Let me know. We'll schedule up a time. But even if you're a seasoned horseman, come do a lesson or two with your horse, just to see how he's doing, see how your riding transitions over to how I ride. It's kind of getting on the same page with the horse. Because I think if we don't recognize that, and even with the horses that we sell, we offer a free 30-day tune-up valid for a year. Because you come purchase a horse, and then 4 or 5 months from now, things might not be clicking and on the right page. We'll just bring him back, and let's kind of get it ironed out and brush the horse up and brush your horsemanship up as well. So that's being able to recognize that there is a difference. I'm sure it's possible, but I don't know that anybody can go look at a horse for the first time, spend about 10 or 15 minutes with them, and say, this is my heart horse. Everything's perfect. He's good for the next. I ain't got to ride him again until 2 years from now. So it's a journey that takes a lot of time, to form that bond and partnership with the horse.
Well, and boy, that speaks volumes of your breeding and training program that you even offer that. You know how many people, as soon as you sell it, they're just like, okay, it's your problem, and people get stuck.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not good for the person. It's not good for the horse either. So I like what you're doing.
Well, we thought about it, and just being straight up and no gimmicks or marketing or anything. I mean, we genuinely want our horses to go to the right home. It's troublesome when somebody really wants a horse, but it's obvious they're not connecting. It's not going to be a good match, and sometimes they get a little angry when you won't sell them a horse. But in the end, it always works out. If we can put our horses in the right hands, it's better for the horse. It's better for the people, and we're real confident, in the breeding, and especially our training program. We decided to start offering that, just for that reason. One, to show that we believe in what we're doing, and let us make it right. Let us connect. We want to hear from the swinging in ranch family is what I call it. But when we sell a horse, we want to hear a year from now. We want to hear 2 years from now. I tell my wife, somebody that I've sold a horse to in the past, I don't want to have to dodge an aisle in Walmart when I see them. I want them to see me and let's come and let's talk about it. Have that kind of relationship.
Man, that's amazing. So how many horses do you have for sale?
We just have a few right now. We have one older gelding, and then I say older gelding, he's a 3-year-old. He's more finished gelding, and then we have a 2-year-old, and then the rest of them are winglets that we have for sale. So we're in a business mindset. We're building inventory is a good way to put it. I think next year we'll have 8 or 9 of them available, and they'll start in the spring, and then the year after that we're going to have 13 gelded available, and then it grows from there. So our goal is to hit that, probably the 10 to 15, finished riding horses that we're selling a year.
Okay.
Mainly gelded. Mainly we're holding back our colts and castrating them, and going through that process. Making them just good all around ranch geldings. I mean, crossing creeks, doctoring cows, pushing cattle, working cattle, doing obstacles, leading other horses. Anything you can think of to really make them a good, solid ranch horse to go to whatever discipline after that.
Okay, yeah. Boy, having a good foundation is just It's just key to longevity of someone being able to compete on a horse, or not even just compete, just be able to enjoy it. You know, like
Absolutely.
they can take this horse and just be a trail rider and just have a good horse that's got a good foundation, and you know,
That's right.
and then they know they got an honest shake because you're not dodging them in Walmart.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'll wave at you at Taco Bell Drive.
Oh, okay. So how do they find? Well, first of all, I want everybody to know that if they're listening to this at the end of 23 or the beginning of 24, I've actually got Chris going to be one of my Country Tough Trail Versatility judges in May of 24. So you can come and meet him here in Missouri, but he's really not that far away.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited about it. And I told everybody at our national championships that I was like, hey, we got an Oklahoma guy coming on board. And they're they're pumped to meet you. So how does somebody else get to, do you have a Facebook page or a website, or how do they reach you?
So you can definitely look up Chris May Swinging M Ranch on Facebook, or just Swinging M Ranch on Facebook. I've looked, and periodically I Google it myself. I don't know of any other Swinging M ranches. So if you get to a guy that has horse pictures on profile, that's probably me.
Okay.
So, and I can shoot you the link to that Facebook page too. But we're all exclusive on Facebook. We do have an Instagram, but it's just linked up with the Facebook, and it's all the Swinging M Ranch.
Okay. So no website or nothing now, that you're just on Facebook.
Just straight up on Facebook, yes.
Man, that makes it so simple, because, like, I will tell you,
easy.
Boy, I am everywhere. We have Von Holton Ranch, and we have VonHoltonRanch.com, and then we're on Facebook, but then we're on TikTok. I'm on everything,
right.
And then I've got Horsemanship with Brandy. Just because Von Holton is kind of hard to spell, so I just got horsemanshipwithbrandy.com, and I actually started selling some online classes for people that are just getting into horses, because you can't be 40 and go to 4-H, so like, how do we get them some base knowledge? Or it doesn't have to be adults, it could be for kids too, but it's not little kid content, it's just regular. I would consider it for like 10 years old to 90 years old would be great. But I've got things on there, and I sell a complete line of mounted archery equipment also on Horsemanship with Brandy. And then I have equine log books and coloring books, and I've wrote some children's books where they're the horses talking. But I'm on horsemanshipwithbrandy.com and brandyvonholton.com. And then my husband has a business where he makes at-home woodshop projects. So we send them all of the pieces, and then they have video to learn how to build, and then it comes with a curriculum. So, but this
that's cool.
This Country Tough Trail Versatility, you can find us at ct2v.com, and it's Country Tough. So there's your CT. Well, then it's trail. So there was 2 T's right there in the middle. It was cttv.com. Well, I didn't want to have TT in the middle of it, so I made it ct2v.com. I did that because there's not a lot of horse associations that have a number, and then also if you had those 2 T's together for tough and trail, whenever you embroidered it, it looked like the pi sign, or it just looked weird whenever it was being embroidered, because a lot of times those T's would touch. So it looked like a hitching post in the middle of it, which that's kind of cool, but I needed people to know there was two letters there. But we have that, and I don't know about you, but, ever since COVID happened, that kind of shook us up a little bit, made us a little bit more clear about doing what we want to do, because you're just not guaranteed nothing unless you guarantee it yourself. So we actually started we've got Country Tough Homesteading that's starting up this next year, and we're going to be teaching people how to do all sorts of lost things like canning and sourdough bread, and I'm so pumped about it. I love what we do here.
I'll have to check that out for sure.
Oh, yeah. Might learn how to make some sourdough bread. Nothing wrong with
There you
that.
go.
We can eat it with our sushi.
I'll let Sarah handle that. There you
Oh,
go. Yeah.
Sarah, yes. You
Yeah.
know, something to think about with her, which I don't know if this is what she's wanting to do, but this might be an avenue, is there's people that will teach you how to forage and learn things that are edible, and then they're taking that stuff and doing like a cooking class with it. So I would be
Oh,
down
wow.
with
Yeah,
that.
that is neat.
After make sure
That
it
is
didn't have no
interesting.
sea ticks on it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure it was the right plant.
All right, so guys, this was Chris May, and thank you for tuning in to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton.